Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Joe, that was a beautiful intro. I thought you were going to forget my name for a second.
I mean, it's the same as my name, so I was on the cusp, but I managed to pull it straight out me arse at the final second.
Yeah, sounds like most of your schoolwork.
Hey. I just turned in an assignment that was supposed to be between 2,000 and 3,000 words that I didn't know I had to do until like 3 hours before I had to hand it in. And yeah, we're not going to talk about it. It's perfectly fine. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome back. It is week 21, episode 21.2 for our English-speaking listeners. That was 74. And today, we're going to be talking about a couple of comics that we got for this week. We're going to start it off with some of Joe's comics, and then we'll move on to some of Joe's comics, which I hope is all right with everyone. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, Joe, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you picked up this week?
Strictly Blade Runner. Only Blade Runner.
Yeah, baby! Sci-fi!
Remember that one time we tried to steal we successfully stole a Blade Runner poster, but then we realized that we were going to be convicted?
Can we just say that and then not even explain it, or should we explain this?
Joe, what? How did two college-level educated, actually smart kids come up with that plan and think, yeah, this is good. This is moral. This is totally okay. Who?
I don't know. You call us smart. You might be smart. I really don't know what goes on.
You're intelligent, Joe. You would be able to recognize, that's not a good idea.
Well, because I did at the very. I guess we should explain this a little bit. So I am a very big fan of Blade Runner 2049.
Specifically the poster.
Yeah,
not
I was
the movie,
getting to
just
it.
the poster.
Just the poster. I love the blue and orange aesthetic.
Never even seen the movie.
Never seen the movie. I could give a shit about Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas and Jared Leto and others that were in the movie. Forrest Whitaker. Never seen the movie, clearly. But so our school has a program where they put on movies that were in between theater release and the DVD release or whatever thing. So every couple of weeks they'll show one of those movies or whatever. And in one of the buildings they have just the line of posters. And for a while I was like, I wonder what they do with those posters, because I don't think they probably don't do anything with those posters, Like, what the fuck would they probably don't. I could just take one of those posters and no one would care. No one would care. So me being the genius that I am, I said to Joe, and I was just like, hey, you were already involved in this, but now I'm like, this is on tape now that you were involved with this, because we record these on a tape recorder and then convert them to digital files.
The only way to do it.
Only way to do it. I don't know any other way. What's a computer?
It's a big metal box. That's what it is.
I thought it was plastic.
Plastic. I'm sorry. I couldn't remember the meme. I'm sorry.
So we go over to this Blade Runner. I say to Joe, I'm like, come on. We should let's see what we can do here. And it's a regular poster size, like 24 by 36, whatever the fuck, and it's in a frame. And we're looking around, seeing who else is in the building right now, and everyone is kind of like way far off. And I'm just like, okay, we could totally do this. So, I can't fucking believe we did this. We lift the poster off the wall, and we go into the nearby stairwell. And while there, we completely undo the frame.
Take the poster out and roll it up.
Take the poster out. And then we're holding the fucking poster, and we go and we put the frame back, and because, it was a clear back or whatever, so as we're hanging the poster back up, I realized behind where the poster was hung up is a piece of printer paper that just has a few words, like a single sentence on it, and all it says is, "Smile for the cameras." And I was like, motherfucker, they outwitted me.
They had planned for idiots like us.
They knew. So I say to you, and I'm just like, Joe, Joe, we gotta put it back. And you were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I point at the fucking piece of paper, and I'm like, don't know. So we're like, what do we do? So we bring it back into the stairwell,
Put
and
it
we put
back
the
in the
poster
frame.
back, and then we hang it back up, and we walk away across the green in defeat. Heads hung, dicks limp. It was truly one of my lowest points in my life.
It I don't know what happened. Like you brought it up, and part of me should have said, "No, Joe, that's stealing. That's bad. We're gonna get caught." But then my high school self was like, "Oh yeah, fight the power, man." You ignited a deep fire within me that I had suppressed, just like how your kissing does. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're doing this. This is gonna be good. And then I was just paranoid the rest of the night that public safety was going to knock on our door and be like, "Were you guys trying to steal? You're arrested for trying to steal something." Like,
Yeah, you're getting arrested for trying to steal a Blade Runner poster and then bringing it back.
oh boy, what a story. That's something to tell the kids.
That is something to tell the kids, except it's like one of those old comics that has no stakes because it's like status quo, bit of conflict, and then you're back to status quo.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. Now to talk about Blade Runner 2029, issue number 3, which I was able to pick up this week, and me and the comic shop guy had a nice hug out that he was able to order them, even though they were supposed to come out last week. Yada yada, whatever. And I really like this series. I completely missed the fact that my girl Peach Momoko does the covers for these. Peach also did the X-Men Demon Days comic that we talked about
Shout out.
last week. Yes. And I was like, oh my god, my girl Peach, I support you, and I didn't even know it. And this story is so cool. Joe, do you remember anything about this story that I was talking about?
Honestly, I don't remember anything of the 2029 series at all.
Basically, it's this Blade Runner named Ash, which I think she was in the 2019.
Yeah, I remember who Ash is. I
Yeah,
never finished that series, but I do know who she is.
yeah. So as of right now, it's 2029, and back in what year was it? Was it 2017? I think that she was hunting this replicant. The replicant disappeared, and she lost track of him. And basically, she went to go hunt down this other replicant 12 years later, and he committed suicide. And right before he did so, he said, Yotun redeems, which is the name of the Blade Runner, or not the Blade Runner, the replicant that that Ash wasn't able to catch. And then when they did they brought him into to do like a dissection on him. There was no proof that he was a blade. Oh my god, that he was a replicant. They're like, oh, he has all signs that he's human, but he 100% was a replicant because he wasn't wearing a mask in this like acid rain or whatever. Yada yada. Basically, it hinted at that. And the last page of that comic was that all these replicants in tubes, and Ash thinking, where are they coming from? And so basically, someone is making replicants that isn't Tyrell. And what we learn is that in this comic, that Yotun, the replicant that got away, is somehow, I don't know how he got access to it, but he
There's
is,
always one that gets away, isn't there?
yeah. He's creating replicants, and giving them a new life with no sign of them being replicants, so it's impossible to track them. And there's like this replicant cult around him. Like they all wear like these like red hoods and stuff. They like have meetings. Like it's kind of creepy. And he basically, like, replicants have a expiration date. Like they can only last so long. So there's like this
Yeah,
tradition
then they
that
start to get moldy, and then you
yes.
gotta throw them out.
So there's this tradition that happens in the book that one of the replicants that he creates like gives up their life and gives their life for life force, whatever the hell it is, to him to make him live longer. Um,
How did the
which is
fuck did they do that?
it's they like strap in the chairs and they put needles in each other's arms and drain out fluid. I
Whoa.
don't know. They didn't show too much of it, but basically, what in order for Yotun to live, another replicant has to give up their life. It's crazy. It's basically a replicant cult, um, and one of the replicants goes up to Yotun. He's like, "Yo, like that Ash girl, she's still looking for you, and like I ran into her." And Yotun's like, "All right, take care of her." And basically Ash gets abducted by one of the replicants, and then the story ends with Yotun like crashing a party for like some of the higher ups in the city, and he's bringing some of his other replicants. And I don't know if he's gonna. I think he's gonna go cause some trouble. I don't really think he has plans on dancing, but it's interesting. I think it's a super cool idea to have replicants creating replicants. The art is awesome as always, and I like reading the story.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. And I have a theory. I'm fairly certain Yotun is his name?
Yotun.
Yotun. It sounds like Rotun. Um, Yotun is definitely at the party just to get fucking turned. He is there for the pink Whitney bitches, and that is all.
Joe, I don't ever want to hear you say that again. You're supposed to be the one friend that isn't hip, so please, just.
I only know about that shit from my sister. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God. Okay, okay. Whew, some faith has been restored. But then we have another Blade Runner comic. Yes, that's two Blade Runner comics because this week
For
Blade
the
Runner.
price of one.
No, 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 it wasn't. It
Oh,
wasn't.
shit.
That would have been cool though. This is Blade Runner Origins,
Blade Runner.
and in this you learn about the first Blade Runner.
Whoa, like ever?
Yes.
What the fuck? Wait, that actually sounds really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, the little blurb thing that they do at the beginning of every story. It ends with
Jeez.
replicants who escaped and returned to Earth were hunted by special police squads, Blade Runners, with orders to kill any trespassing replicant upon detection. This is the story of the first Blade Runner, Los Angeles, 2009.
Wow. Okay, so 2009 is the first. Interesting. They love their nines. They really. 2009. 2019 is the first Blade Runner movie. 2029 is the sequel stuff. 2049 is the sequel movie. What is about nines?
It just makes you seem edgy.
Nine is the edgiest of the numbers.
But Joe, I think you should get this. This art, really cool. Like I really like the 2029 art because it's kind of different, it's unique, but there's something special about this art. I love it. I don't know how you would feel about it. I think you would like it. Yeah, I think you would like it. But it's cool. And it starts off with this there's some type of war going on in 2007. I can't the Tyrell Corporation is involved with it. I can't tell if they're fighting replicants. I don't know what's going on. It's a little confusing. And I'm assuming next issue we'll get a little bit more background. But um, the main character of the story, his name's Detective Moreau, and we find out that his sister is in some type of a coma, and it's just kind of giving you a little bit of background on what his life is like as a detective. He's pretty cool dude, cool design. Like I said, art is amazing, and he gets put on this job that there was a suicide at Tyrell, and that his boss is telling him, he's like, look, man, like, the only people that have been inside Tyrell are the people that work there, so they're gonna be a little, a little put off that they have a cop coming in. Like, they're gonna hide some stuff, probably. And so he goes in, and this woman hung herself, and you get a little bit of background on the other characters, like this woman. Oh my goodness, what is her name? Elora Stahl. She's like one of the higher ups, and she's basically telling him, "Oh yeah, like nothing to worry about. You know, she just was depressed. You do your looking and then get the heck out of here."
Hmm.
Um, but eventually, um, as this dude's walking home, he's like, "All right, something's up," and he's walking home and he runs into this guy and he's saying, I believe he's saying that the guy was the the guy who he runs into is the woman who killed herself's brother. And he's like, look, man, like she wouldn't have killed herself. Like something's up. Um, and basically, they get attacked by somebody. Somebody throws like a dumpster at them, and you find out that the prototype of the Nexus 5 escaped. Um, like
Uh-oh.
the night before she committed suicide. Um, so I don't know if that's implying that this is when I guess this is when things first went bad with the replicants and where they needed Blade Runners, but it's a pretty cool way to end it. It's really dramatic as Blade Runner is, but like in a good way. Keeps you entertained. It's not cringy at all. Um, yeah,
So
Joe,
it's not like Justice League.
no. If you want to know about Justice League, you just go listen to Cupacho 21.1. It's good, Joe. I think you would like it. There's this really cool spread page of the city. Oh goodness, it literally it's gorgeous. Ugh.
Shit, now I'm thinking about, yeah, I'll try and pick that up sort of thing. Because again, I have the original, the first like 3 or 4 issues of the original 2029 or 2019 run. I can't remember.
2019.
Yeah, 2019. But because of, we went to New Zealand and then the world kind of went a little topsy-turvy and then I just completely forgot about it. So I'll probably pick up trades for that because I do want to continue reading this stuff and then I'll start getting into dipping my toes into the rest of this stuff because again, never seen Blade Runner, not a single second, but I really fucking love that poster. So it's just more poster, but also posters with words. I'll completely skip the words, but I will look at all the cool, pretty images.
Yeah. And this way, I mean, if you really want to, you can steal it from the comic shop to get that kind of like satisfactory.
Yeah. And
Or
then when I take
or
it out, and then I see the little sign behind it, and it's like "Smile for the camera, bitch." I'll be like, "Ah, ha, ha," and I'll point like they do the laugh and the point, and the store clerk will do the laugh and the point back at me, and then I'll just keep laughing and pointing as I slowly back away out of the store.
or I just frame it and then you steal it from my house. Hmm.
Ooh, that could work too.
Yes, it can. And then I just slash your tires.
And then I steal your car. Ha!
Oh God. Okay. Well, Joe, that was it for me this week. Just my Blade Runner stuff. What about you, man? What you
Okay, so
reading?
Maximilian Pegasus.
I was thinking
As
about him earlier. The warmer spring weather took me back. I had a full on nostalgia flashback, Joe. I was I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years old again in my living room watching Yu-Gi-Oh on my CRTV, huge CRTV in this like wood cabinet, and I was sitting and I was opening the Joey and Pegasus starter decks that I got for Easter morning.
Aw,
I was transported back. It was a crazy experience.
that's awesome. And it's almost Easter now, which is cool. It's a little ways. So I don't remember when Easter is. It's like a few weeks away. But yeah, that's awesome. So comics that I read this week, it was a slower week for me. I picked up three. I'm only gonna be talking about two because I never got to the other one, and it's just kind of like a weird thing anyway. But so I picked up Wonder Woman 770, which came out this week, and then I picked up Swamp Thing #1 by Ram V. And I think Mike Perkins did the art on it as well from last week because I'd heard it was pretty good. And I like Ram V on Justice League Dark, and Swamp Thing is also on Justice League Dark. And I'm like, okay, let's see. I'm going to talk about Swamp Thing real quick first because it was a last week thing, so I want to get through it now, Um, I felt like I was channeling Ragnarok Goldblum right there. Did you feel the Ragnarok Goldblum?
Oh, I felt it. I felt it
Wonderful.
everywhere.
Little icky, but also kind of okay. So Swamp Thing. Um, it is not the normal Swamp Thing, which is like Alec Holland, I think, is the normal guy. So it's a new guy who is Swamp Thing. And it's also a mystery. It's a 10 issue miniseries, and it's a mystery. And so you're following a new character called Levi. A bit of a crossover. It's not that Levi, but it's just a guy named Levi. But he's the new kind of like Swamp. He is Swamp Thing, but I don't really know that much because I think he knows he's Swamp Thing, but he doesn't know how to control it yet. Because it's a sequence in the book where he like goes to sleep and then he wakes up like hundreds of miles away in a desert, and he's like the vegetation of like a cactus and like some other stuff that's like growing up and out, and he's screaming, and it's like this body horror stuff because he doesn't know what's going on with him, and it's just the plant life is trying to be a human body because that's what he knows, but it's not there, and he doesn't know how to control it. And I'm like, ah, yes, the only kind of horror that I enjoy, body horror in comic books. And then it reminds me a lot of Immortal Hulk. Remember, I showed you a couple of that stuff.
I was thinking about
Big,
that as you were talking about it.
yeah, it's the same sort of visuals. Big hulking green behemoth, and it's like body in weird contorted positions and unnatural looking, and it's like, yeah, it's. I think it's really cool. But so like it's a mystery. You don't know. At least I don't know why he's Swamp Thing yet. Like what happened to turn him into this, because he's still human as well. Like he has a human body, and he's just come back. I think his dad just passed away. I believe his dad was in India or something like that. Say somewhere he was overseas, and he's come back. And something happened overseas. Like he's having nightmares about what happened over there, and that's part of the reason why he's like also transforming into Swamp Thing. And it's unclear, but it's intentionally unclear because mystery and what's happening going on. And you're introduced to a villainous character called the Pale Walker. And the Pale Walker is essentially just he's like the legend goes he was a soldier that came back from war and wanted to find solitude. So he left the town that he was in like 100 years ago and went into the desert. And as he was in the desert, like the more alone he got, the more he began to change. And so now he's like this boogeyman of sorts for like the people out in the desert, and he's killing folk, and you don't really know why yet, whether it's just because he's a monster or whatever, or because something else is going on. So you got a creepy horror-esque looking legend villain guy going on. You got the creepy body horror Swamp Thing, and you got the whole mystery of everything going on about it. And the fact that it's written by Ram V and it is a 10-issue miniseries, I'm here for it. This is more intriguing than Future State Swamp Thing, which I am very happy about. But also, it's a pretty cool like Swamp Thing book that I'm very interested in.
Yeah, you just got me interested in it. That all sounds really cool, actually. It sounds like dark and spooky enough that I enjoy it. That like that's the type of stuff that like I would enjoy because like I like stuff like that to a point. Like after one of the episodes, I told Joe, I'm like, Joe, like, all right, we gotta set down one rule, like for with regards to the movies we watch. I'm like, no horror. I'm like, I can't do horror. I'm a big baby. But there's a fine line of like almost like I don't know if you would even call it horror, but like spooky stuff. Like I love Halloween. I love spooky stuff like that.
Bring back the Hex Girls.
Oh, oh boy, Hex Girls. Ah, man, that's a good throwback to the podcast, man.
That is a good throwback to like the original 10 episode run. But that was like episode 6, I think. I can't remember. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
We're Joe. Are we on to volume 3 now? Are we gonna start putting these in volume 3? Is that the way it works?
Technically, yes, because like I figured a volume would just be like a constituent of like 10 quote unquote episodes or weeks, but I don't know. We'll figure it out later on. Everything's still in volume 2 playlist, so it doesn't matter for right now.
Okay. Well, needless to say, that Swamp Thing book sounds pretty cool. I don't know. I don't think I'll pick it up, but I would like to. I will be eager to hear more about it when you read it.
Yes, I will. I can't wait to tell you more because I can't wait to find out more. Um, all right, so that was Swamp Thing, and then onto my second book, the one that actually came out this week, Wonder Woman number 770. So this is Diana, and actually this literally picks up right after Infinite Frontier number 0, where remember she was in her cool white threads and like the cool crown looking thing, and Spectre was showing her around, and they're like, oh, "Are you going to join the Quintessence, this league of incredibly cool people?" And she's like, "Fuck you, you're lame. I'm going back to Earth." And they're like, "Oh, well, we're still really cool." And then Darkseid kills them all, and is like, "No, you're not." So if you remember, she got the cool Norse looking stuff on her, and she's got the like dreads, not dreads, the braids in her in the front, and she looks awesome. Um, she wakes up in Asgard. Like she meets a character, and she's just like, "Where?" Like she literally wakes up in the middle of a battle. She's like, "Where am I?" And the dude's just like, "Haha! You are in Asgard. Please join in the fighting. We all love to do this." And she's like, "What?" And then he hands her like a sword or whatever, and she's like, "Here I go killing again." And she just joins him in the battle and starts killing people. And she's talking like with the guy because obviously she's a very good combatant. But right now, like you're finding out, she doesn't really have any memory of anything. She's kind of like completely blank slate right now. And she's like, "What do I call you?" And he's like, "Sig blah blah blah," with like Norse symbols. And she kind of looks at him like in the battle, and he's like, "Call me Siegfried." And you're like, "Oh, okay." So this is Siegfried. And in the middle of this first battle, Diana gets her head chopped off. And you're like, "Wait, what?" And then she comes to, and she's in a like a dining hall, and there's just all the people she was fighting with, and Siegfried sitting next to her, and he's like, "Well, it's a good thing. It's about time he got back," sort of a deal. And she's like, "What? I just had my head chopped off." He's like, "Yeah, it happens all the time, but then you always come back." And now here, have some, he pours meat into a horn for her, and she has like a mutton chop leg, and it's just partying and all this other stuff. And she ends up like getting real drunk on the meat, and then she ends up kissing Siegfried. And Siegfried's like, "Whoa, Diana, you're pretty drunk." And then cuts to the next page where she is naked asleep in a bed, like the big furs all over her, so you don't see anything. Remember, Joe, PG-13. That's as much as we can give. Bit of leg. That's all you get.
All Joe needs is a little bit of thigh, and he's happy.
Oh, don't even talk about it. We're getting too real here, Joe. The she wakes up and she's like, "Oh God, my head! It feels worse than when I had my head actually cut off." And Siegfried's like sitting next to her at a table, just like sharpening, and he's looking all sexy without like he's not wearing his shirt and he's just in pants. And he's like, You had a bit of a time last night." And she's like, "Oh my God, did we?" And he's like, No, I'm a man of honor. We did not." And she's like, "Okay, good, thank you." And so she gets dressed in her awesome Viking Wonder Woman regalia, and he's just like, "Are you ready for the battle that's going to be happening?" And she's just like, "Yeah, I'll be there again. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take a walk around and see what's going on." So she starts walking around and she's taking it in as she's looking around the place. And so it's a Nordic setting sort of a thing. And she's just kind of like looking around and seeing what's going on. And Yggdrasil, like the world tree from Norse mythology, it's just right there. And she meets this little like unicorn squirrel thing. It's just a squirrel that has a horn and it can talk. And it's like, "You are Diana, Wonder Woman. You need to come with me to this tree." And she's like, "Wonder Woman? Like who the hell is Wonder Woman?" And the squirrel's like, "No time. Come to the tree." And she's like, Okay, little creature. I'll come to the tree with you." Um, she gets to the tree, and the squirrel is like, "The tree is it's there's something's wrong with the tree." And one of them was like, "It looks very strong to me," or whatever. And the squirrel's like, "Yes, but there's something going on. Like, I need you. Will you help me?" And Wonder Woman's like, "Yes, I will help you, little squirrel. I already made a promise to a friend back there that I was going to join him in battle. But after that, I will come right back here and help you." And the squirrel is like, "All right." And so she goes off, meets up with Siegfried again, and Siegfried gives her a better sword. He's like, "This one's imbued with magic." And she's like, "Oh, cool. I think I knew a thing or two about magic in my previous life." And he's like, "Oh, interesting. Anyway, into battle." So they both go to battle again. This time, Wonder Woman's doing a little bit better. She's not as like flustered because she just woke up in the middle of a battlefield. But this time, it's while she's talking with Siegfried again. I think she actually attempts to save him. I don't really remember, but she gets like stabbed through the back, and she's like not really freaking out, but she's very confused because as she's lying on the battlefield, like Siegfried is holding her, and the battle's raging all around them, and she's just like, I think I used to be much tougher than this, and I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, what the fuck is going on? But Siegfried is like, don't worry, Diana, I will avenge you, or whatever. He's like, when you come back, we will party on, bro. He says it more eloquently than that, but I can't remember, so I'm just resorting to Bill and Ted quotes. So Wonder Woman dies again, and Siegfried is like, who do I owe the favor of removing their head? And then he goes off into battle. And then you have another little sequence of someone calling to Wonder Woman saying, you keep dying. If you keep dying, it's going to be hard to come back. And Wonder Woman's like, what do you mean come back? Who are you? Where am I? What's going on? And then she wakes up, same place in the meat hall, but this time there are people missing. Like some of the friends that weren't there before, or that were there before, aren't there now, and that's including Siegfried. And she asks around, she's like, "Where's Siegfried? Like, what's going on?" They're like, "They haven't come back." And so, the thing is, they haven't died yet because when you die, you always come back to the meat hall. But the fact that they haven't come back means they haven't died yet, but they are missing. So Diana runs off and meets up with the unicorn squirrel again, and they go to the battlefield and they're looking around trying to see what's going on. And you see like a misty ethereal version of Siegfried appears, and he's just like, Diana, you gotta save me or whatever. And she's like, I will come and save you. And he disappears in like the wind blows or whatever, and he just blows away like whoosh, dust in the wind. And then she turns to the squirrel and she's like, Squirrel? The squirrel has a name. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's like Rat Attack or something like that. It was close to a Pokemon, and I was like, hey, it's kind of like a Pokemon or whatever. But she's like, Squirrel, we have a job to do. And like the narration is like, and she falls immediately back into that hero role despite not knowing who she is. So I'm here for this. We got a Norse setting, some weird time loopy bullshit, and she's got to go save Siegfried from some weird realm. It reminds me a lot of like the God of War remake, because someone from Greek myth comes and is now in Norse myth, and I'm like, whoa, this is kind of cool. So I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm here for it.
That all sounds really, really cool.
Doesn't it? Like I was surprised, but I read these two books and I was like, these are some interesting stories.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't know, both of them, like, even when I saw them online, I'm like, oh, those seem, I wonder how those will be, like, it will be, like, 50-50, but wow, like, damn, both of those sound like great stories, like, really, really good, and that Wonder Woman story sounds pretty unique. I like that idea of, like, almost, like, resetting at the mead hall. That's really cool. Some unique stuff. I like it. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. So I would both of these books I'd be like I highly recommend, mostly because they're great stories, but also because they're nice clean jumping on points. Swamp Thing, there's only going to be 10 issues, so it's like if you want to jump on for that ride, you're only going to be on it for like a few months. And then again, I don't know where exactly this Wonder Woman story is heading, but I mean, coming out of Future State, Wonder Woman was on the top, and right now still pretty damn good. So I'm very happy right now with the state comics are going in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't think I'll pick them up, but I will always, like I said with Swamp Thing, like I'm going to be interested to hear about it from you. And Joe, I was looking at what's coming out this week. I only have one comic that I'm going to get.
Is it the thing that I'm thinking of?
Radiant Black #2.
Yeah, baby, Radiant Black #2 is coming out. I'm so excited for this. Like after that first issue, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm so ready.
Yeah, I'm pumped. But that's like the only thing that I have written down. Do you have anything else?
There is Nightwing #78 coming out.
Yep. Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that, and I haven't read. Hang on, I gotta put the phone. I gotta set the phone across the floor because I don't want any static in the microphone. I I haven't been keeping up with Nightwing. Like I have his entire New 52 run. It's 5 volumes, and then he switched to being Grayson. Like that, he made it was in a series called Grayson, and he was like a spy, and apparently that's also really good. So I wanted to pick that up, and pretty much all of his runs so far, like in Rebirth, like after Grayson was Rebirth, the Nightwing stuff, and that stuff's all been apparently really good. Um, but for whatever reason, I just like I've been waiting. I've like been trade waiting. I prefer to read them in trade. However, this Nightwing series is written by Tom Taylor, and Tom Taylor is responsible for such great stories as the Injustice series and Deceased, both original and the sequel and the spinoff on Killables. So it's like anytime you give Tom Taylor something, he tends to do really well with it. So I'm hopeful that this will also be a pretty good pickup. But yeah, that's the only other thing that I'm majorly interested in next week to be reading. So Radiant Black DOS and Nightwing number 78.
Fantastic. Well, Joe, I got the nerd over my Blade Runner. I got to hear some cool stories from you. I have nothing else left to say.
As do I. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that beautiful, wonderful stuff, and then check back in next week for when we go over those things that we were just talking about, Radiant Black Season 2, and most likely the new Nightwing book, unless something changes or whatever. Yeah, that'll be it from us. Love you all, and goodbye.